Tim Blackman here. Thank you once again for taking the time to check out this video. You can share it to your friends because I want to show everybody how strategic, and I want to show everybody that the Bible, the Holy Bible, is still prevalent today. This is part 2 of my other video that I did. I was talking about Matthew 24 in context, where I talked about, let's say, verse 3 through 7, mainly focusing on verse 7, where it says, "For a nation shall rise up against nation and kingdom against kingdom." And I wanted to talk about, most people don't believe in the Bible. They say it's an old book, it's outdated. But after this video and the other video, I want to show you, and I'm going to show you. I mean, it's up for you to believe in. And I'm going to show you how strategic the Lord was in talking about the end times and everything that will be going on. So let me jump right into it. Go to Matthew chapter 24, and let's start at verse 3. This is talking about right before Jesus Christ comes back. And we want to make sure you're ready when Jesus Christ comes back. If you're not ready, you will be cut your portion with the unbelievers. But if you're ready, it's going to be a glorious day. So let's read Matthew chapter 24, verse 3. And it reads, "And as he sat up on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, 'Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be thy sign of thy coming and the end of the world?'" So Matthew chapter 24 is talking about the end of the world. Let's jump down to verse 7, the verse I want to focus on. And it says, "For nation shall rise up against nation and kingdom against kingdom." And like I talked about in my other video, if you want to go back and watch it, where it says nation shall rise up against nation, the Greek word for nation means ethnos against ethnos. So when Jesus was saying ethnos against ethnos, he was meaning where we get the Greek word, our English word today, ethnos. It means ethnicity, like a race, a color of people, a multitude of people. So what he was saying, he said race shall rise up against race. So, and that's what we got going on today. That's why us Christians, we shouldn't even be involved in it. But let me get down to the point. I'm going to read some references. Let me slow down because I want to make sure you get this. Let's start today. Today's Friday the 24th. I was looking at Facebook this morning, and they had the story talking about the WWE, how Hulk Hogan came out. Hulk Hogan, the mighty, the immortal Hulk Hogan, came out and called some other black wrestlers. He dropped the N-bomb on them. So WWE is getting rid of him altogether. The Hall of Famer, the reason why everybody watched wrestling, Hulk Hogan dropped a racial slur. Look it up if you don't believe me. And another list of some things I want to do. I'm going to talk about things that happened recently that has something to do with race. This is a list of white cops that killed unarmed blacks. And first, we got the Trayvon Martin story. Everybody remember that? This happened down in Florida. He's like a 12, 13-year-old boy that got killed by a Zimmerman that was race baited. Next one, Mike Brown in Ferguson. The riots, everything going on for that. You remember that story. Race baited. Number 3, Eric Gardner. He was the big guy that was selling cigarettes on the corner, and the cops choked him out, and he said, "I can't breathe," or whatever. The next one, Freddie Gray in Baltimore. He was in police custody, and he got his neck broke by the cops, or something happened with that, but it started all these riots and stuff like that. Number 4 was Walter Scott. He was the 50-year-old that jumped out of his car and was running, and the cops shot him in the back like 5 times or something like that. And this happened in South Carolina. A lot of stuff's been happening in South Carolina. I wonder what it is about South Carolina that the elite want. But we had the KKK and the Black Panthers out there with the whole Confederate flag thing. Race against race again. Confederate flag, Black Panthers. And everybody remember this. I think it was like a 12-year-old boy. His name was Tamar Rice. This happened down in Cleveland, where he had like a fake gun. The cops thought it was a real gun, so they ended up shooting him. A 12-year-old boy, seriously. And recently, and this story kind of got to me too, it was a lady named Sandra Bland. She was a Black Lives activist. She had stuff on YouTube. Anyway, the cop pulled her over for switching lanes illegally, and the cop roughed her up real bad. She died 3 days later in jail. So, I mean, there's a lot going on, race against race, just like Jesus called it. I gave you the scripture, Matthew 24, verse 3 through 7. Jesus said, race against race, kingdom against kingdom. We got the blacks against the white, the Jews against the Arabs, the whoever against whoever. Jesus called it specifically. And we remember the church shooting. A white male goes into a church, shoot 9 people, and they were black, and he was a white guy. So, I mean, there's things going on, race against race, black against white, and Jesus called it specifically. And I'm going to give you a few scriptures. I know my time is short, and I don't want to take too much time for you to go. The main question is, should we as Christians be involved in this, protesting Black Lives Matter? Because we know the devil is trying to separate us. So I'm going to give you a few scriptures, then I'm going to take off and talk to you guys next time. Romans chapter 12, verse 2. 1 John chapter 2, verse 15 through 17. Next one, 1 John chapter 5, verse 19. And this is the answer to the question, should we as Christians be involved in this kind of stuff? Because we love everybody, black, white, Asian, Chinese, Russian, Samoan, Tongan. We're all supposed to be together. It's the devil that comes and tries to divide us with false doctrines, with all kind of hate and stuff like that. So the scriptures to look at again before you get caught up in this is Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Next scripture, 1 John chapter 2, verse 15 through 17. And the next one, 1 John chapter 5, verse 19. Make sure you read those scriptures and don't let the enemy get you caught up in this race war, because Jesus told us that this would happen. Grace and peace to you until next time. Make sure you share this and invite your friends. Faith out loud. God bless.